Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Right, just as season 5 of Big Brother Naija is about to end and the winner crowned, for the purpose of this episode of my vlog, I just want to quickly talk about how the show has been so far, and asking the question, would you like to be loved the way Ozzo loved Nengi? Also want to talk about Neo and V's relationship, and we'll also slightly or lightly talk about Erica's disqualification. Now, the reason why I'm asking the question of would you like to be loved the way Ozzo loved Nengi is because I've seen on social media a few people say, oh, they want that kind of love, they want a man like Ozzo, and I've asked myself the same question: would I like to be loved the way Ozzo loved Nengi? And my answer is not entirely. The reason why I say that is because I don't know if I would call what Ozzo had for Nengi love. I would call it more of a fixation. Because in the real world, if I supposedly had someone coming at me that strong, I would be worried, especially when I've told the person over and over and over and over again that I'm in a relationship. I would expect them to respect boundaries. I would expect them to probably maybe backpedal a little bit and say, okay, you know what, she's in a relationship right now, and maybe stick around in the distance somewhere, or maybe nurture a friendship with me, as opposed to continuously hounding on the fact that they loved me or that they wanted a relationship with me. So yeah, if that was happening outside of the house, I would be worried, and I'd probably distance myself from that person. And being cooped up in that type of environment, it's very easy to develop feelings for someone. It's very easy to develop an attachment, and if you're not careful, you would find yourself in a short space of time in a full-blown relationship, which is almost like what we saw a few of them get into. When I talked about Big Brother the first time, I talked about my top 5, and like I mentioned in the last vlog that I'd never really watched the show prior to this. Of course, I've seen the housemates, seen clips on Twitter, seen bits and pieces here and there, but I didn't really know much about the last season's contestants. But this time I actually spent time watching this season, and I picked out people who I felt that, picked out my faves, shall I say, and Ozzo was number 1. But as the show continued and as his fixation grew and got stronger, it started to put me off him. And the truth of the matter is that Ozzo was I think, my favourite, as well as a lot of people's favourites as well. And if it weren't for his behaviour, I really believe that Ozzo would have lasted to the end of the show and probably maybe been him. He probably would have been one of the last people standing, if not one of the winners, if not the winner. Now, of course, like I said, his fixation on Nengi irritated a lot of people, got on a lot of people's nerves, and I think that's what contributed to his eviction. Having said that, I also want to talk about Nengi. Now, remember I said to you in the last vlog, the very first vlog that I made, I talked about Nengi being very crafty. And my gosh, she is crafty. And she's a very wise girl. She's very cunning. And I think that in a lot of ways, she encouraged Ozzo's behavior, because there were so many instances where she could have put her foot down. She could have nipped it in the bud. She could have been very firm with him and said, you know what, Ozzo, stop it. I've told you time and time again, I have a situation outside the house. Can you stop this? I'm not comfortable with it anymore. Can you stop, or I will go and tell Big Brother. That boy would have left her alone. But you know what? She needed him, because he was her only ally in the house. Remember at the beginning of the show, she gravitated towards the boys. She literally almost had all the boys eating out of the palm of her hands. That she was friends with all of them. She'd stay up late. She'd play games with them. She would sit and drink with them. And then she wasn't that close to the girls. And then I think her game I don't know if it was a game for her, but I think she knew what she was doing. And I think that her cover was blown when she had that altercation with Lucy, and Lucy called her out and said, you know, how she's going, how she changes guys every 3 days and stuff like that. So I think that got to her, and she realized, okay, people have sussed my game out, people have sussed me out, and then she kind of withdrew herself from the boys a little bit. But the one person who stuck with her through and through it all was Ozzo. Now, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how socially awkward you are. It doesn't matter if you like to, you know, socialize with people or not. You need that one person who you can talk to. We all do, you know, and, you know, that person was Ozzo for her. Look, Nengi is the master manipulator. She could have told Ozzo. She could have cut him down and stopped him in his tracks, put a full stop to his behavior. But she didn't. She thrived on the attention that he was giving. She thrived on the fact that whether she wanted him or not, that boy was gonna stick around. Also could have been, you know, Nengi could have been serving him sawdust. He would eat whatever she gave him. Like, he didn't know he's left from his freaking right. So, yeah, a round of applause for Nengi. You know when you say someone's got tunnel vision? That's it. One line, goal, right there. She's been focused. She's not deviated. She hasn't fallen off the wayside. She's had a couple of altercations. She's got back in the game, and she's been focused. And honestly, I give it to her. When I said she was crafty, I didn't know how crafty she was. When I said she was cunning, I didn't know how cunning she was. She's wise beyond her years. And a pat on the back for her. And it's kept her in there. She's final 5, and voila. I want to touch on Neo and V's relationship. That's another dynamic in the house. They have a totally different relationship from Ozzo and Nengi. I think Neo is more invested in V than V is invested in Neo. Let's talk about Neo washing V's underwear. Now, do I see anything wrong with it? No. If they're comfortable with each other, they understand each other, they don't mind doing certain things for each other, by all means, go for it. But having said that, if it was V that washed Neo's boxers, would people have a problem with him? No, they wouldn't. So now Neo's washing V's underwear. Everyone's up in arms and saying all sorts of stuff. Listen, if that's how they show, if that's their love language, let them do it. It's just that, you know, obviously they're doing it on television and everyone's watching, so everyone's got an opinion, everyone's got something to say. Some people find it endearing, some people are annoyed about it, but that's how the boy likes to show his love. And that's exactly what he did. Honestly, I don't really have an opinion about him washing her underwear. It's neither here nor there for me. I just think the boy's in love and he's willing to do as much as he can for her. I don't know if they're going to survive out the house. Their relationship is quite cantankerous. And they bicker a lot over really trivial little things. So I don't know how far they're going to go. Want to touch on Erica's disqualification. I think that Erica was also someone who was tipped to last the end of the show. I don't think she knew. It's a shame, you know, when you're in that house, you don't really know the power you have outside of the house, or you don't know the support that you have outside of the house. If she knew how people loved her while she was in there, she would have conducted herself a bit better. Now, the only issue that I have with the whole thing is that the message that it sends out, now you're being disqualified and then you come out and then everyone's celebrating you and everybody is, all the support that you get. I'm not saying it's wrong to have that kind of support. I just think that, it almost feels as if there's a celebration of bad behavior. How does the person correct the error in their ways? How do what message are you sending to future contestants? What message are you sending to people who watch this show? And probably maybe it has an impact in how they live their lives, or it has some type of influence on how they think or behave. I think, in as much as you try to be real, natural, organic in the house, you have to also remember that you're in an environment that you cannot control. You're in an environment that isn't yours. You're in an environment that you're not used to. For example, you go to work every day. When you get to work, you conduct yourself a certain way. You don't get to work, sit at your desk and put your foot on the table, do you? You don't use foul or vulgar language at your workplace, do you? You don't sleep on the floor when you're tired, do you? You don't sleep at your desk if you feel like taking a nap, do you? There's certain things that you don't do because you exhibit levels of control. As soon as you step out of your house, whatever you do behind closed doors, it's not what you do outside in the public. It's something that every human being does. They behave themselves when they're in certain places. So regardless of how relaxed you are in the Big Brother house, remember, it's not your home, it's not your personal space, it's not your personal environment. You have to conduct yourself in a manner that is appropriate, which I feel that she didn't. I think she was quite careless. I think that she lost her individuality in the course of her relationship. I also think that she didn't have any control over herself, easily influenced. I hope that that's not the message that is sent out to people who want to go on shows like this, that if you go there and misbehave, if you go there and break the rules, if you go there and act inappropriately, you will be rewarded, which is almost what it seems like. But you know what? I wish all the contestants well. Will I be watching Big Brother next year? I don't think so, because I realized that watching it when you have an opinion, there's a lot of people who take this show very personal. And when they have an attachment towards a contestant or a housemate, and you have an opinion or you say something that probably maybe doesn't sit well with them, they have nasty and vile things to say. So I don't know why. It doesn't have to be that way. Everyone's got an opinion. You don't have to like, we all don't have to like the same people. But yeah, having said that, it's been enjoyable. And I hope that everybody goes on to do really well. I've also got to say that if he wasn't lost in his desire for Nengi, I really think that he stood a good chance of winning the show. I really do. But yeah, this is what I think about Big Brother Naija Lockdown Season 5.